William Wallace, legendary freedom fighter, saviour of the Scottish people, warrior. Now this statue of Wallace, which I've visited countless times in the Scottish borders, is a pretty impressive monument, to be honest. It's maybe not the world's most artistic sculpture, but the position of it and the size and scale of it make it really, really impressive and something worth coming to see. But I've never really wondered why a monument to Wallace in the Scottish borders. I've always imagined most of his fights happening up in the Highlands. But that's a myth. A lot of Wallace's fighting was done in the borders, in the Ettrick Forest. But even more unknown is Wallace's connection with Galashiels. So what I'm hoping to do today is two things. One is prove beyond all reasonable doubt Wallace's connection with Gala, and two is make an entire short film about Wallace without using the word that was a title of a Mel Gibson film. I think if we're not careful, the name William Wallace will be forgotten in 100 years and people will just refer to him as, which was the title of a Mel Gibson 1996 movie. Now, to begin this story of William Wallace and Galashiels, we first need to visit Galashiels' rival, if somewhat smaller and less successful town of Selkirk. Now there's a small church in the centre of Selkirk, which is where I am right now, which lays a kind of preposterous claim. Well, it's not preposterous, it's plausible but highly unlikely claim that William Wallace was crowned the Guardian of Scotland in this very church. In this churchyard. But I think there's a few flaws in that story. Come with me and I'll describe those flaws. Now it is a fact, a solid fact, that Wallace was crowned the Guardian of Scotland in the Forest Kirk in the year 1298. In the year 1298, this church here in Selkirk, this ancient church, was brand new. It was almost in the stages of construction. So why would they crown this important guy, this leader of the Scottish armies, in such an unimportant site? It's an important site now, surely, yeah. But back then, in 1298, there was a far more holy and worshipped site in the borders, and it was also known as the Forest Kirk, and it wasn't very far from here. So let's go and see if we can find where that site was. This is the information board in the churchyard in Selkirk. I'll draw your attention to one word in the William Wallace story. May have been made Guardian of Scotland here. In other words, wasn't made Guardian of Scotland here. Let's go and find the real site. If some folk might think I'm just fabricating this story to try and make Gala sound better than Selkirk and stuff like that. No, I've got Selkirk connections with it. There's the museum in Selkirk, and there's a photograph just in that door there. My great granny, my mother's mother's mother. Unfortunately, it's closed today, so I won't be able to show you the photo, but I think I might go and find her grave as well, just to prove my Selkirk connections. This, for me, is a far more plausible and likely site for the Kirk of the Forest, where William Wallace was crowned the Guardian of Scotland in 1298. This holy and revered shrine would have been even more holy and even more revered in 1298, when the new church in Selkirk was just being built. This, after all, was the place where the King of Scotland brought the first French monks that set up the first abbey, which later be turned into Kelso and Melrose. But this here, for me, is where Wallace was crowned the Governor of Scotland, the hidden, holy, mystical church in the forest. I suppose that then begs the question, where am I? Well, there's no prizes for guessing. I'm at Lindeen Kirk. Lindeen Kirk. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Up until 1697, Lindeen Kirk was the parish church of Galashiels. A fact celebrated every year at the Braw Lads' Day, when the Braw Lad comes here and lays a wreath on the monument here on the Monday night. It's probably the wreath still lying there from this year's celebrations. So let's just stick all the facts together then. Wallace was crowned the Protector of Scotland, not in Selkirk, but here in Lindeen. Lindeen was the parish church of Galashiels. Therefore, Wallace was crowned the Protector of Scotland in Galashiels. And every year at the Braw Lads' Day we celebrate the church where Wallace was crowned. So for me, Wallace was the first Braw Lad. I really don't know why I'm the first person that's latched onto that, to be honest. You know, our Braw Lads' Day celebrations could have been so much more jazzed up, if you like. You know, instead of celebrating a couple of Galashiels guys that murdered a couple of English guys at the Raidstein, we could have been burning effigies of Edward Longshanks in the market square and toasting the country's most patriotic and greatest ever warrior. Of course, didn't turn out like that in Selkirk and nabbed the story for themselves, but you know, I think I've proved it beyond all reasonable doubt today. Thanks.
Can match the lads of